Good evening. It's Tuesday, April 16th. This is the City Council reorganizational meeting, and the first item would be the roll call.
Hirsch. Here. Jensen. Here. Lagaki. Here. Mayeski.
Here.
Reeves. Here. Butler.
Here.
Schumacher.
Here.
Wozniak Scanlon. Payton.
Here.
Caravello.
Here.
Lucky.
Here.
And Alders present.
All right, thank you. We are certified in compliance with open meeting laws. And before we go into the oath, I think Candy's going to meet you at the podium. I want to mention a couple things quickly. It is National Telecommunicators Week. So for us, that means we celebrate the week for our police dispatchers. So if you see any of the dispatchers, please say hi and thank them for their work. And then also I wanted to mention that Planning Commissioner Robinson, that we just had a special meeting, and that will be his last meeting. He's decided not to continue. So if you see Tom around, please thank him for his service. So we're in the process of filling that position. And we have some applicants, so we're going through that process right now. But I wanted to at least recognize him for the last several years that he's been on as a commissioner. We've done a lot of work, and some of it's been more fun than others. But overall, we've accomplished a lot. So I thank him. And then we'll get into the oath of office for the seating of the incoming alders. So I think Candy's going to meet 3 people at the podium. Is that right?
You please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Regina Hirsch,
Having been elected to the office of alderperson,
having been elected to the office of alderperson,
affirm that I will support the Constitution
affirm that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge
and will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I have your oath, if you'd like to know.
Yay!
All right. And Christina is still on an airplane, so that's why she's not here. I just got a message from her, and then she'll catch up with Candy and do her oath. So Christina's on an airplane, so she'll catch up to you when she gets back to town, and we'll figure out if we're going to do it in the office or if we can do it at the next meeting. I'm not really sure if there's statutory deadlines to do that. Next item of business would be the roll call for the new council, which I don't think is going to change too much.
Nope.
So we get to do this again.
Okay. Hirsch.
Here.
Jensen.
Here.
Mayeski.
Here.
Reeves. Here. Butler.
Here.
Schumacher.
Here.
Payton.
Here.
Caravello.
Here.
Lucky.
Here.
And we have 10 alders present.
You didn't call me.
Lagaki, I'm sorry. I covered you right up. Thank you.
I thought you were going to go in a different order just to keep us guessing.
Yeah, you do that. can't even get Jean.
All right. The next item would be city council elections. So we start out with accepting nominations for president. So I would open up the floor for nominations for city council president.
I got one.
President Hirsch.
First, before I nominate, then I just want to thank everybody that allowed me to be your president for the last, I think, 4 years. So it was a great honor. I enjoyed it for the most part and look forward for the next person. So with that said,
You're not going to make it.
huh?
Isn't getting out alive?
That's right. Thanks, Tom. I would like to nominate Alderperson Reeves for president.
All right. And are there any other nominations? Once. Any other nominations? Twice. Any other nominations? 3 times. I'm hearing none. So will we vote by unanimous consent, or all in favor say aye?
Aye.
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 And any opposed? Lisa? Any words you want to say before we go on to the next one?
I do, actually, and I probably should have said this earlier, but I want to be very candid with everyone, so you can change your mind. But in 6 months or so, I will be moving to a new district in Stoughton. So at that point, I assume it would be the vice president that takes over. I'd be honored to serve, but I just wanted to let you know that I'll work hard in the meantime, but in 6 months, I'll hopefully get myself on a committee or something at some point, so. We'll worry about that when the time comes.
All right.
I'm still would like to nominate Alder Reeves.
I think we already voted, so you're stuck with it. Yeah. And I just want to take a second to thank Lisa for accepting to do it, and then all the extra work that Regina put in the last several years, and most of it was fun. Certainly it's been busy, a lot of challenges, some really good projects, and it helps to have great leadership. Next item would be accepting nominations for vice president. I would entertain motions. President Reeves.
I would like to nominate Alderperson Schumacher.
And I would, okay, seconds are allowed. And I would entertain any other nominations once, any other nominations twice, any other nominations 3 times. Hearing none, I would close nominations, and all in favor of Alderperson Schumacher to become vice president. Schumacher, say aye.
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 And any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking that. Not that you had a choice. All right. All right. Oh, boy.
That's what it was all about.
Yeah. You get to sit, oh, you're going to sit over there. And just remember, the tradition is the council president does the seat assigning. So just remember that when you're dealing with President Reeves now. Right? You do the seat assignments. That's a pretty important first task.
Like a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I think I have a little too much fun with Phil, so can we move?
You know, I'm a step ahead of you on that, DJ.
Oh, dang it.
All right. Once we get settled in here, we'll move on. Let me know when you're ready, Brett. So the first resolution is going to be R54, and these are my appointments to the standing committees. And what I try to do is seek requests from the alders and honor as many as I can. There wasn't a lot of changes. We do have a couple that are vacant right now until we fill the other alder position. Certainly, if for some reason something comes up and either now or later on where you want to switch committees, we can certainly do that. We just need to be notified, and and you guys can trade places with somebody else if it better suits your schedule or whatever is going on in your life. But based on the feedback, what I put in the resolution is what I came up with. So if you're all okay with that, I would entertain a motion to confirm those appointments.
Move to approve.
Motion by Majewski, second by Jensen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And,
Aye.
and any opposed? None opposed. That motion carries. The next group is the R55 is for the non-standing boards, committees, and commissions. Not a whole lot of change there as well. I would entertain a motion for this one. Motion by Jensen, second by Majewski. And any discussion? And I just want to mention on this one, as long as Candy's here, we do have a date for the board of review.
Yes.
And can you just take a second on what we would need for that?
The date is May 23rd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. here in council chambers. And I have not pulled that folder yet, but some people have completed the training last year. If not, I'd really recommend that you do it as a review. But I'll be sending that out hopefully by the end of this week.
And if you have a scheduling conflict, let me know, and we can try to reappoint somebody else at the next council meeting. So if for some reason that date doesn't work, we still have time to change that.
I am channeling Joyce. Typo, and I may have caused it. It is the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Committee, though I love that we really want to include people and put it.
Oh, that was me. I overly emphasize inclusion.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Well, we changed the name, and I put it at the beginning, but I didn't change the end. So thanks for catching that.
So IDEA is the
Yes,
latest lingo.
and I knew that too. Thanks for catching that. All right, any more discussion on that one?
Looking at the document as well, just one other on the Rivers and Trails Task Force, Bill is listed as District 1. So just to clarify, he is in District 2.
All right. You didn't move, did you? Yeah. Yeah. So this was copied and pasted from my document, so you can give me all the grief for this. You can't blame the clerk for this one. All right. Any others? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed? None opposed. That one carries. Next one is citizen appointments to the standing committees, which we put 2 citizens on 5 of the 6 standing committees. I do have one potential vacancy on finance. I do have a couple applications coming in, so I'm hoping that in the next meeting or 2 we'll get that one filled as well, so we can get at full speed. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion for R56.
So moved.
Motion by President Reeves, a second by Alder Jensen. Any discussion on this one?
Mayor, I think, did you make the changes in these appointments? Because I think you said that you had the library and the opera house the same?
That'll be on the next one.
Okay.
Yep, I have a note, so thanks for reminding me though. So this is for the standing committees. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And,
Aye.
and any opposed? None opposed, that carries. So R57, this is the one with the change. We accidentally copied and pasted the library board in 2 places. So the Opera House board should say Jim Borling and John Lewis is what it should say under the Opera House board. And thanks for Director Ramsey for catching that. Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve with those changes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Peyton, second by Legaki. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 And any opposed? That one carries. And the next one is R58, which is the appointments to the RDA. And we have one citizen vacancy, but I have an application or two coming in for that. Same thing, we hope to have that one filled before the next RDA meeting. We act on this one separately because it's a different vote. It's not unanimous, or it's not a majority. It's something like 2/3 or 5/6 or some fraction. I don't know why, but that's what's in the state statute. So I would entertain a motion on this one. Motion by Jensen, second by Sherlucky. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None opposed, that one carries. R59 is that would be the designation of the public depositories and authorized signatures. And Director Ellinger is on here, and I assume everything is in order here.
Yes, no issues.
All right, I would entertain a motion for these.
So moved.
Motion by Schumacher. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by President Reeves. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? That motion carries. Next one is R60, and that one is for the official newspaper of the city of Stoughton. I would entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Motion by Reeves. Is there a second? Second by Sherlucky. Any discussion? We had a little discussion about whether or not it would be advantageous to change that to a daily paper. So on these public hearing notices, it would be easier, but I was told that it would actually make things more complicated for the clerk, and we never want to do that. But we did look into that, just so you know, because sometimes, their deadline, I think, is on Thursday. So if we find out something on Friday, then we basically have to wait another week and then take 2 weeks to get it in there. And all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, the developer's knocking on our door wondering why it's not on the agenda. So we did have that conversation, but that's something we'll continue to monitor as we try to keep projects moving. All in favor of R60, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None opposed. That motion carries. R61 is the designation of the attorney, which I think this is something that Director Ellinger, did you find this one?
There should actually be a memo in the packet, but we've got an ordinance stating that the attorney's got to be appointed each year, and the finance committee, the council directed this back to the finance committee, but it also directed that this resolution be at the reorganizational meeting, so that's why it's here.
Okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Jensen, a second.
Second.
Second by Schumacher. And any comments from Attorney Manthey?
Well, I just want to say I've enjoyed working with all of you much more closely over the past year. I know it's not easy doing the transition from Matt to myself, but I feel like we've had a fairly smooth transition, but I've been really enjoying working with all of you, and I hope to continue. And I've got an open door, so if anybody has any comments or criticism, feel free to let me know, and happy to work with anybody. So.
Thank you. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank Attorney Matt Dragney for all his years of representation for the city of Stoughton. Certainly, he saw a lot of things And he was always willing to take time to share his knowledge and expertise with not only myself, but all of you, and shared as much as he could. With Rick, I think he's still going to be a resource.
Yes, he's not fully retired. No one's letting him do that. So he'll he's still going to be working at Stafford, and he'll be a resource for us. And I think he's planning on working on doing some zoning code rewrites for the city. So he will still be actively involved, just less so than usual.
All right, thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 And any opposed? That motion carries. So we have this public hearing on here, which we already had at Plan Commission, right?
Yes, I don't think we need to do the public hearing. We've satisfied the statutory requirements, so we don't have to go forward with the public hearing at the council.
Okay, but we do have the resolutions on here, and I guess I would look at the Plan Commissioner Caravello to introduce the first one here.
Sure. This is R62 of 2024, resolution by the Common Council of the City of Stoughton conditionally approving the chalet replat, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderperson Butler, and I'll just fill in quickly, and then Rick can jump in. So this one we put on, we had a special Plan Commission meeting earlier tonight. We wanted to keep this one moving. We weren't able to make the public notice to make Plan Commission last week. So we had a special meeting tonight to do that, and we'd like to hopefully get it approved tonight. And as far as the details of it, you want to walk us through that?
Yes, so a few months ago, I think it was, the city conditionally approved discontinuance of Chalet Court. So the developer is refiguring some of the lots, basically creating 2 duplex lots. The other lots that would have been remaining from the subdivision are being converted into an outlot, which is being dedicated to the city for parkland. So that land was adjacent to sort of a green space that's already owned by the city. So what you'd be considering tonight is a rezone and a replat that is creating those 2 duplex lots and then dedicating the remainder of that property to the city for green space public parkland. There's also an access easement that is being given between the 2 duplex lots. So on Chalet Drive, you can still access the green space. There'll be a walkway or an access point, I guess. So the public can still access that from Chalet Drive.
And we did have one resident that spoke at the public hearing that was opposed to the project. Did we miss anything, Alderperson Caravello?
I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, this is as far as my perspective goes, a much better outcome than, the original cul-de-sac that could have potentially been at that site. I think this preserves some of the land that's there, although it might look, since there's some transition going on, it might not look the prettiest at the moment, but hopefully there will be some regrowth and it'll infill some housing in an area that already has infrastructure going.
Okay. Alderperson Wagaki.
Just a question about what the citizen, Ms. Wilson, had said. She talked about there being wetlands there. And just with that proximity and all, how accurate is that? And just was sustainability involved at all in any of this? And it's a question of information.
So I think the short answer is this was reviewed by the Army Corps of Engineers and the DNR for the wetland area and the delineation, and that the development can't be within the 75 feet of the wetland. So that was all reviewed, by the proper authorities. When you say sustainability, are you referring to the committee, or are you?
Yeah, the sustainability committee.
No,
Does it make sense in any way because of,
I think that would be outside of their scope. I mean, their
Okay.
scope is to develop a plan. Certainly, as part of the plan, if they have environmental sensitive areas that they want to highlight, that could be in the plan. But I don't recall even seeing that in the draft plans at this point. Help me out, somebody that has followed that. Alderperson Hirsch?
Oh, I don't believe this would be in their draft plan, but there is a long history, at least with Park and Recs for this site. And, because we were concerned about that area that was delineated, the previous state administration was going to be okay with them filling in the wetland. The new administration, not so much. And so I think this is the best solution as possible, because the Park and Recs, at least me on the Park and Recs, have been looking at this site for 9 years to try to preserve it along, when Denise first came, brought it to my attention way back when I first got on council. And the idea behind, it's a great thing that they're only doing the 3 duplexes, and we have that, and he's dedicating the other outlet that was going to be built. And the whole idea that was brought up with Park and Recs is we really want to work with the school across the street to create an active learning space in that park. And it's a bottomland wetland, the wooded area. It's really kind of unique. And so we want that to be restored and have lookout decks and stuff like that so kids can watch the wood ducks and other animals that are down there, everything that Denise was talking about. And they'll, most likely they'll return. Rabbits may not be here, but rabbits have a cycle. And so some years they're abundant, some years they're not. And there are 2 known foxes right across the street, so they might be well-fed foxes. So I think this is exciting news because we can restore it and we can have an active learning space for the kids across the street. So,
thank you for clearing that information about wetlands.
and also, Mayor, on this, can you please put up the amended document? Because this one has Magnolia Springs in it and has them
Oh,
doing things that are for Magnolia Springs, all the things that they have, what was it called? The conditions, which, that are not, the following conditions cannot be satisfied. They should not be doing things all the way to Main Street and Orchid Avenue that has nothing to do with this development, and it goes on and on. So I'd like to see a cleaned up resolution.
Here it is. It was in my inbox. So yeah, and thanks for catching that this afternoon. We somehow emails got commingled and copied and pasted together. I think this is the one we also want to have the rezone on as well, Rick. Is that accurate?
Yes, so Plan Commission approved the rezone and the replat.
So I think, is there any other discussion on this? Otherwise, I'm going to ask for an amendment to include the rezone as well.
I guess I would like to see what the actual resolution, the new one is. I thought we were going to print some copies off for us tonight, but we didn't.
I think they're here. They were at the Plan Commission.
Oh. You guys are special.
Oh,
Did you get it?
Yeah.
And the Plan Commission went over this to make sure everything was there.
Yeah.
yeah, it was sitting at our desk at Plan Commission. Yeah, but we would want to amend it to include the rezone as well. but I'll just give you a minute to look at it.
Does anybody want to see the other part?
Are there any questions on it, Regina, or are you okay?
No, I'm okay. And
All right.
so up above it will say for the approval of the chalet plat and rezone?
Yeah, I would look for an amendment to include the rezone.
Okay. And that stuff is all in here too? That's what this is?
Yeah,
All right, I can make that motion.
okay. Is there a second for the amendment? Second by Sherlucky. Any questions on that part of it?
I had one.
Sure, President Reeves.
So would it be helpful to, does it, or should it include rezoning from what to what? So that anybody looking at it would know what exactly it's being rezoned?
We can certainly do that. I just don't know what it is off the
Yes,
top of my head.
Let me just get the,
It looks like it's TR6.
yeah, it's two-family residential.
And that's the new,
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be, yeah, rezone from rural holding to two-family residential.
All right, so we can put that in the resolution. You got that? Okay. Andy will have that in the updated resolution before I sign it. Anything else on that? Any other questions?
no, thank you.
Okay. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
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 And any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment carries, so then the original motion as amended to include the rezoning language. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Any opposed? None opposed, that motion carries. All right, and then item number 11 is R13 of 2024. And this one here, it was at Park and Rec, but it was also at Plan Commission tonight, Alderperson Caravello.
Thank you. This is R13, 2024, resolution by the Common Council of the City of Stoughton to discontinue part of Ridge Street located in the city of Stoughton, Dane County, Wisconsin, and I so move.
Is there a second? Second by Alder Majewski, Alderperson Caravello.
And this is, I mean, essentially, this is here because the time ran out for the petitioner to take action, so it's back before us again. If taken.
Yes,
That
that's
is correct.
Yeah, that's correct. The petitioner originally, so the Ridge Street discontinuance was conditioned on a few conditions. One, they had to obtain a wetland permit or wetland fill permit from the DNR so the city could build the pedestrian trail along Cooper's Causeway. The developer was also going to convey the, there's property to the north of Cooper's Causeway or the east. I'm getting my directions messed up, but that would become public space or green space that was dedicated to the city, and then a utility easement. So the developer or petitioner has submitted the application to the DNR for the wetland fill permit. They did that in mid to late March. They haven't gotten a decision yet from DNR. So that's in the process. I spoke to their attorney, asked them when they thought they would have all this done. Originally, they gave me a date in May, but they said just to be safe, they wanted a June date that is after your first meeting in June, I believe. So it's up to the council, I guess, to decide if it wants to reapprove the resolution. The original resolution is null and void at this point. So you could just decide you don't want to move forward with that project anymore. The petitioner and developer, they are still interested in moving forward. So that's why they requested to get the extension. So, but it's ultimately up to the council's discretion.
Alderperson Hirsch, I'm going to call you president at least 10 times in the next year, just so you know.
You can. It just won't mean anything. Former president. I have a question on this. Isn't this the same property that did not get the proper permits and has a stop work order? So how does that factor in if we approve this resolution again, but we know that they didn't abide by kind of the rules and laws? What does that actually all mean and for the city?
Yes, you are correct. They were doing some clearing of trees, and they got a stop work order from the city, and I'm not sure if it was the county or the DNR.
DNR.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they're currently, if they've abided by the stop work order.
They weren't down there today, I know that. I drove by there.
So it's certainly a consideration. You know, as far as if you don't want to move forward, that's obviously within the council's discretion. If you wanted to come up with conditions about those addressing that issue, you know, that's certainly something we could consider. We just have to be careful about how we craft it so it's very specific and, I guess, measurable on how they comply with that condition.
Okay, thank you.
Alderperson Jensen?
Yes, Rick, wouldn't it be prudent to make this contingent on them getting the permit from the DNR?
So they are applying for the wetland permit from the DNR, and this resolution makes that a condition for the fill for the city's trail portion. I guess I'm not sure if they're, I don't remember the exact delineation. I'm not exactly sure where their like building footprint would be or what their plans are, but they may need another permit from the DNR if they're going to be filling in other wetlands on the property.
Sounds like we're getting ahead of ourselves then, in a way. If I'm understanding this correctly.
I guess I'm not clear, and I think this is what Elder Johnson is trying to understand is what was the stop work order for? What permit was it that they did not get that they are now not in compliance with? And is that something that the city should be concerned about? Because, you know, is that a condition that we need to put on this? Because if they started work where it wasn't permitted, correct?
So the permit that was required was an erosion control permit. And so by not getting that, you know, the city will basically double the cost of the permit. But the bigger problem for them is they have to satisfy the DNR. I don't know what the DNR's process is, but I'm guessing it's probably a little steeper than ours. You know, so before they continue with anything on the site, they still have to get that erosion control permit in order to, you know, even clean up what they've already cut down. So, yeah, I don't know if there's anything you can add to that.
Yeah, I agree, because it's sort of separate permits that they're dealing with here. Ultimately, like, right now it's not the city's property, so like as far as like liability goes, I don't see any like liability for the city as far as like them not getting permits. If it's a concern about them complying with conditions, you know, we could certainly say that they need to get all of the whether it's erosion control permits or any other DNR permits prior to, maybe that changes the timeline, but if we're adding like other permit conditions in there that they need to get, you know, that's certainly something we could do, that they have to provide evidence of getting the erosion control permit. And presumably that would be easier for them to get than the DNR wetland fill permit, but I would think they could still comply with that before the June date, but it is something we could add to the resolution.
Alderperson Schumacher.
Tom, I thought you brought up some really good points and questions during our discussion and plan commission. Would you be willing to restate some of those just for the discussion.
Excuse me. Some of the questions I had were, why would the city be interested in swapping land for land which was basically would not be developed because it is a wetland? Was one point. Second point was this was related to what Alder Corbello asked, which was it a good deal? And I was questioning if we were getting land which was of equal utility, which was not answered, but I believe that this project will be more beneficial for the environment and the city than not. So those are my questions.
Anybody else have any questions or comments on this one? President Reeves.
Has there been an amendment offered yet? I guess I just wanted to
Not
make
so
sure
far.
I understood it. So if there's an amendment, I mean, I guess I would agree that I think that it should be contingent on them complying with whatever DNR has, whether it's remediation or permitting or any of those sorts of things. I guess I would like to make this contingent upon them in full compliance with the DNR's, whatever they have them, need for them to do. However, if that's possible.
I think item A, does that address that, or do we?
So item A would be the wetland fill permit, I believe.
Yes.
We could do something along the lines of they need to establish to this, I guess it's the city attorney's satisfaction, that they have obtained all necessary DNR or state permits, state and county permits, state, city, and county permits necessary to commence work on the site.
What about federal?
So the DNR would essentially be acting through the EPA. We could add that as well.
Army Corps of Engineers?
Yeah, federal, state, county, local permits for any site work.
Did you want to make that amendment?
Sure, but I forgot.
Oh,
Maybe
go ahead.
wanted to
I'm
add
sorry, I
to
didn't
it,
see
or-
it.
Just a question and related to what Alder Jensen brought up before. A matter of timing. Why is this in front of us tonight? It almost feels like that there's a little bit more work to do, and do we want to think about tabling it for now and having some more information come in?
I don't know, I mean, if I put on my realtor hat, I would say if I was them, I want some assurances that the city's still committed to this before I satisfy the conditions. So it's kind of the chicken and the egg thing. So if we don't move it forward, then really it's dead on arrival, basically. So then we would have to start all over again, which obviously we can recreate what we have. But they wouldn't have any reason to try to move forward on anything until we have an agreement. So we'd have to renegotiate that and probably be pretty similar to what we have anyway, unless there's something else that we thought we would want to amend. I mean, I think the biggest thing is they were just looking for more time to meet what we had already agreed to do. Unfortunately, there's been a hiccup already along the way. Thankfully, the neighbors pointed that out to us so we could send our team down there to assess and do the stop order. And then the DNR was also notified, so they were down there with, I understand, 2 people to do their work. So hopefully that's a lesson learned, and they'll do things according to to the rules that are in place to protect the land and the wildlife in the area as they possibly move forward with their project. Is there anything else that you think we would want to include, Attorney Manthey? Or do you think we have it covered?
Yeah, I was looking at the correspondence regarding the stop work, because it appears that it wasn't the buyer of the property that was doing it, it was the current owner. So the IKI is going to be the entity that's purchasing it, IKI Manufacturing.
They're the seller,
Yeah, they're this, okay, so.
but I don't know
So
what,
SIBO, okay.
SIBO and them
Yeah.
might be the same thing right now.
Yeah. But no, I believe if we put a condition in there that they have to establish compliance with federal, state, county, and local ordinances for any site work, that should cover the basis to, I guess, for like site clearing. That should cover the basis for at least the issue that they have right now.
Alderperson Hirsch.
I have a question with this amendment. I'm just thinking about,
It hasn't been seconded yet.
I know, but I'm just thinking out loud. If we put that as a condition, if we don't know exactly what all those permits are, how are we ever going to know whether or not they met them? And so that's kind of makes our kind of resolution kind of weak, because who's going to oversee them to make sure that they actually abided by these permits if we don't even know what the permits are?
Yes, so the issue that they had was for the land disturbance in excess of 4,000 square feet without a permit. So it was in violation of Chapter 10 of the city's ordinances. I don't know what the corresponding DNR code would be for that, or the county code for that.
So right now, that would be
That would be
basically
the-
Public Works. Public Works is out there working to, on the enforcement.
Right, but if we don't know what the
Through the
federal
planning
code
commission.
is, the state code is, the Dayton County code.
We can certainly find that out.
Okay, so that would be in there, so who's ever kind of
I would
overlooking
assign
this
that.
resolution?
I would talk to the department heads, Public Works Director Aber and Planning Director Chris, and figure out who would be best to get that information and
Okay.
follow that. Right now, it's being on the erosion control is Public Works. They're the ones that go out there and do the site inspections on our behalf. It could even be delegated to our engineers as well. So that's why I'd want to talk to them and see who the best person would be.
Right, but right now we have a big blanket of all permits, and we don't even
Yeah.
know what those permits are. That's what I'm saying. When you say blanketly, federal, state, county, and city, and it may go back just to that one permit that they default on, then
Yeah.
we should just name that, as opposed to this huge blanket that then we have to start listing anything else. That's all I'm
Yes,
concerned about, is how do we make sure that we can correctly say yay or nay that they met these conditions if we don't even know what the conditions all are.
Yes, so I think if we frame it as land disturbance permits for the site for federal, state, county, local level.
And I have this feeling that at least us and the DNR are going to be keeping a close watch on this property moving forward. So that really leaves us with the county and anything that the feds may do, but we can find that out from the DNR. They should be able to give us direction on whether or not the Army Corps, for example, has any jurisdiction on this area. Any other discussion? So
I would make that amendment based on the language that Attorney Manthe recommended.
I heard
That's
something to
vague
do
enough.
with land disturbance for federal, state, city, and county on the site work, something to that.
Correct.
And I think you and Candy can massage that language, as you always do, so nicely.
Yes.
Is there a second? Second by Jensen. Any discussion on the amendment?
Yeah, because it's no longer a blanket statement. It's more specific, so Brett or whoever can just say yes or no instead of trying to figure out what else they all need.
Any other questions or comments on the amendment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
any opposed? That motion carries. So we're back to the resolution as amended. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And, and any opposed? That motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Jensen, second by Sherlucky. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, and Park and Rec will be on deck.